Yo, what's good out there, world? Welcome to this edition of Smokin Bakin with tradeMarc. And I'm coming back at you with another box cake hack. And I'm going to be doing for you today a 2-layer French vanilla cake. I'm also going to do a homemade, made from scratch, raspberry buttercream icing. Now, the hack of cake, you just really need to start off with a box of cake. And today, I'm going to be using this Betty Crocker super moist French vanilla cake mix. And then I'm just going to add a little, take a little, and put some little extra things up in here to make this cake taste just like it's homemade, like in a bakery. So let's get to these ingredients I'm going to be using to make this box cake French vanilla hack cake. And again, I'm also going to be doing a homemade, made from scratch, raspberry buttercream icing. So let's get to it. So here are the ingredients that I'm going to be using to make this French vanilla 2-layer cake. And again, this is going to be a hack. So here are the ingredients that we're going to be using. And remember, I said we're going to be adding and taking away and doing a lot of substituting. So the box actually called for 3 eggs. We're going to use 4 eggs, and we're going to still use them at room temperature. The box also calls for a half a cup of vegetable oil. We're going to use 1 cup of unsalted butter, and this is actually 2 sticks. And we're going to add this 3.4 ounce package of French vanilla instant jello pudding, and we're going to be using this super moist French vanilla cake mix by Betty Crocker. If you want to use another brand, you can. And we're going to be substituting this milk here for water, and this is 2% milk. I'm going to be using my hand mixer today. I got my mixing bowl, and I got 2 9-inch round pans, and I also have some pan baking spray. So again, here are the ingredients and the utensils I'm going to be using to make this French vanilla hack cake, and let's get to it. So now let's get to preparing this cake. So we're going to use the 1 box of this Betty Crocker French vanilla cake mix. That wasn't supposed to happen. So now we're going to add the next our French vanilla instant pudding. So right here, I'm going to add in 4 eggs, and like I said, if you want to use 5, you can. And right here, I have my melted butter, and this is like 1 cup. We'll be using this in place of the water. The oil. And the milk, we're using 1 cup of milk instead of 1 cup of water. So right here, I got my hand mixer. Take this and ride with. We're going to beat this like for 2 minutes. We're going to start it off on low and then turn it up high so it don't like be splashing all over the place. Alright, let's see. Let's put this on. Alright. Turn it up. The cake batter makes it want to now spray down my baking pan. So now let's get the batter into the baking pans. And we want to try to get the pans as even as possible. We also want to spread the batter around as even as possible, and we're also going to shake and tap the pans on the table so we can just make sure we don't have no air pockets in our cake. I already preheated my oven to 325 degrees. We're going to still follow the directions on the cake and leave the cake in there like for 25 to 29 minutes. Now that the cake is done, I'm going to go ahead and hook up this raspberry buttercream frosting, and the ingredients are as follows. So here are the ingredients I'm going to be using to make this homemade buttercream raspberry frosting. So back here, this is the raspberry powder I'm going to be using. I'm also going to be using some powdered sugar, some unsalted butter. I'm going to try something new, and I'm going to use some orange extract, and I'm also going to be using some heavy whipping cream and a little bit of salt. I don't have it here on the display table, but I will be using some salt, and I'm going to be using my stand mixer with the paddle attachment. Now let's get to it. So I already have 4 sticks of unsalted butter in my stand mixer, and I'm just going to put this down and just give it a little quick mix on low. And then while that's going, I'm going to go ahead and add in 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of orange extract. Now you can use vanilla, like I said, I'm just trying to do something different. So now I'm going to start adding my powdered sugar. And I'm just going to add in this a little bit at a time. And let that mix a little bit. Now I'm going to be using 2/3 of my heavy whipping cream, but I'm just going to add a little bit in now to like kill some of that smoke that's going around from the powder. I'm gonna go ahead and add some more. Now I'm going to be using 2 pounds of this powdered sugar in all. And again, I'm going to just add a little bit of the whipping cream. So now we got this to mix. Everything is mixed thoroughly, and we're going to before I add my raspberry in there, I'm going to once again go down to the sides and make sure everything is scraped down into the bowl. So now I'm going to add, this is 1/4 cup of the raspberry fruit powder. And we just going to throw that on in there. And I'm going to add the remaining of the 2/3 cups of whipping cream. But we're going to add that gradually. And this is going to give it that nice raspberry color. Now mixing it with the orange extract, which is raspberry, so I guess it's kind of like an orange raspberry homemade frosting. So now I'm going to take it off from the stand mixer, and I'm going to continue mixing it by hand. So now it's nice and mixed. And so now, let's get this on the cake.